Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
We've got to have money.
Alright, that'll be enough to get me through this. The Lion King, 2019, directed by Jon Favreau, starring Childish Gambino and a bunch of other celebrities that they marketed more than the actual film itself, is one of the most soulless corporate garbage movies I've ever seen in my entire life. So much so that I'm having a hard time trying to even record this video and not even looking straight into the camera right now. I hate this movie. I despise it. I despise everything about it. I despise why it exists, how it was made, everything about it. Just making this movie, the process of seeing this movie, I mean, was depressing. It's just... It's one of the most cynical corporate movies I've ever seen, and it's so blatant and obvious about it, it's actually kind of amazing. It is amazing how much one movie can exist without any kind of creative integrity whatsoever. I should start at least with the good stuff. The animators who worked on the film really tried. It looks too realistic, photorealistic for it to properly work as an actual animated film, but they did their damnedest to make it work. I like Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen's Timon and Pumbaa. They tried their best. They actually fit their characters in their roles, and they actually were able to get a few laughs out of me. So they did a good job. I don't think there's anything else in this movie I actually like. The rest of the movie is just a uglier, watered down, lesser version of the original. In particular with the character designs and the voice actors they chose to play them. The character design in this movie is some of the worst I've ever seen, in that all the animals they have look realistic, and they look great on a technical level, right? Like if you were making like a real CG lion in the movie or whatever, the characters all look so realistic they can't really express or show any emotion because they're just regular lions. Even the voice actors they got, they're all talented people, like Keegan-Michael Key, Eric Andre, Donald Glover. You know, like there's so many talented people in this, and every single one of them feels miscast. The worst of this probably being Chiwetel Ejiofor's Scar, where Chiwetel Ejiofor is a great actor. He's great in 12 Years a Slave. He's great in Doctor Strange, The Martian. He's in tons of great movies, but his character just doesn't work. It doesn't fit the look of Scar that they have, and it doesn't fit the way the character's written, because 90% of the dialogue in this movie is the same as the original. Problem is that the dialogue was written for those particular voice actors, and they kept them the same, and they changed the actors in which they actually fit their characters and stuff. So in this movie, you get all these weird actors just sounding like they're doing crappy community theater, giving these performances where it's just like they went with the first take and then didn't bother. The only ones I feel like they did that with were Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner. They clearly chose them based off name recognition. Like Donald Glover is great. Donald Glover's voice does not match Simba. Beyonce is a great singer, but her voice does not match the character. No, James Earl Jones is amazing. He did the original Mufasa, but even in this one, while he does a good job, he sounds a little too old and rough to sound like the proper Mufasa. He sounds like Simba's grandfather as opposed to his actual father. It just all feels mismatched and bizarre. And again, Scar is just the worst example of it, and probably was the one that got the worst character design, because his character was the one that was the most cartoonish and you couldn't really do a realistic version of. And what they came up with in the movie is frankly embarrassing and pathetic. It's hard to even talk about the music because all the music's the same. I would not be shocked if Hans Zimmer didn't record almost absolutely anything new. Everything in this movie sounds the same. Music competition is the same. Like when the sun rises and stuff, it's the same song. It may have been re-recorded. They may have done a few orchestral pieces over again, but for the most part, it's exactly the same. It's like they took the CD of the movie and just plugged it into their film. It's lazy, and they copied the original so close in other parts, but deviate from in certain other parts. One example of which is where they just completely either don't do scenes or they just shorten scenes and make them worse. Like the Be Prepared song, my personal favorite song for the original film, is just flat out here, not here, but also here at the same time. It's like a minute and a half-ass version of the original song where it's like, okay, two things. You either cut the thing out or you do it and you commit to it all the way. They do a half-ass version and it just feels awful and just like feels shortchanged. If you're relying so much on the nostalgia of the original film to carry yours, why are you changing things to that? Another problem with the movie is the scene where they actually, the Rafiki scene where like he whacks Simba over the head and he's like,
ow, jeez, what was that for?
It doesn't matter. It's in the past.
that scene is just flat out gone, removed, taken out, like it was nothing. And what did they replace it with? Simba is running through the desert and he has this generic Beyonce pop song that doesn't fit the rest of the movie, just playing over it. And I'm like, my jaw just dropped. That is just one of several changes that are bad in this movie. Can you feel the love tonight? It's not even said during night. It's set during the broad daylight. And I was just in complete shock and awe. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. That was the one thing you had to do. And you messed it up. And, I mean, like, how? I don't know how you do that. But Disney found a way. God's movie. The movie is exactly the same as the original, but just less color, less personality, less comedy, less everything. The music's the same, but but again, the movie didn't give us that music. Like, the music is great. Like, it's the best part of the movie. And when I was watching this movie, it was just like, remember when this wasn't a good film? Had like a creative integrity and tried to do something new, and it's just, we have this film that comes out and it just doesn't even try to do anything new, do anything creative, do anything new or interesting. And the worst part about all of it is that it made money and will make more money, and everyone will forget about it. Everyone will move on. Disney will have made $1 billion off of doing the exact same thing as the original, but worse. Like, I've never seen such a film that's such an obvious cash grab in my entire life, in that there's no creative integrity, no attempt to do anything new or different. Even like cash grabs, like remakes, like the Ghostbusters remake, the RoboCop remake, they at least attempt to do something different with the original. They don't just copy the dialogue word for word. What's the point of doing the exact same thing as the original, but worse? I cannot believe that people went to go to the theater and there were people like clapping and cheering at every scene in this movie. And it's like, yay, I recognize that. It's depressing. It's honestly depressing. Like, with all these Disney remakes, it's like it's the same thing as the original, but worse in every single way. And then everyone goes to see them. They make $1 billion. No one goes to revisit them. No one rewatches them. No one even thinks they're better than the original. They just come out, people go see them, and they move on with their lives. And Disney just keeps making these easy, cheap cash grabs. Why even bother making a new, original, interesting story? Why bother when garbage corporate products like this that have no creative integrity whatsoever come out? Why bother do anything new or inventive or try to improve your craft of filmmaking in Hollywood when you can just make simple garbage like this that's the exact same thing and people will eat it up and take it? I honestly don't want to talk about this movie anymore. It's just making me depressed. I need it.